this really may be the race for control of the United States Senate. So it's not just about Senator Brown's vote. This is about the votes of all of the Republicans. Jim Inhofe, the senator, would become the person who would have supervision over the Environmental Protection Agency. He says global warming is a hoax. And that's what would happen. This matters in this race, control of the Senate.
You're not running against Jim Inhofe. You're running against me, Professor.
That was Republican Senator Scott Brown and his Democratic challenger Elizabeth Warren from the Massachusetts Senate debate last night. Now, while most watchers seem to view their debate as a draw here, we wanted to focus on the point that Warren was making there. And frankly, until Andrew brought it up this morning, I really never thought about it, which is you look at all the individual Senate races, but when you put a composite, you say, well, what if power did change hands? Who would be in charge? Who would be running which committees? And what kind of things do these guys think? And what would they like to do? Well, when they do make those decisions in November, it'll go from beyond theory to actuality if the Republicans get the majority there. And for more on that, I want to bring Andrew back in. And you started doing a little bit of what if here on what could happen 45 days from now.
What if Republicans win control of the Senate? Who winds up taking control of these Senate committees, as Elizabeth Warren was talking about? And let's start with the man Miss Warren was talking about last night.
His name is James Inhofe, senator from Oklahoma, and he could indeed take over the Committee on the Environment and Public Works if the GOP wins back the Senate. Inhofe is not only a climate change denier, he also wants to abolish the EPA, the agency his committee would oversee. How anti-climate change is Inhofe? The title of his book, released this year, is The Greatest Hoax: How the Global Warming Conspiracy Threatens Your Future. And he believes that so much that during the 2010 blizzard, his family built an igloo near the Capitol to, in his words, show Al Gore that global warming does not exist. He later presented that photo during a Senate speech, making it part of the congressional record. Inhofe may not be the only candidate to take over that committee if the GOP wins back the Senate. The other possible chairman is Louisiana's David Vitter, best known perhaps for his patronage of a D.C. prostitution ring. Vitter has called climate change, quote, ridiculous pseudoscience garbage. He also wants to abolish the EPA, and he's called for a 50-year strategy for increasing the use of nuclear power, even as most countries are reducing their dependency on nuclear. Other committees focus on other issues and oversee other government operations, including questions of war and peace and foreign policy. And if Republicans win back the Senate, the likely chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee would be Tennessee Senator Bob Corker. Corker opposed the ending of the Iraq War and opposes the end of the war in Afghanistan, saying he thinks the U.S. will need a presence there for another additional decade. He's also fond of reminding voters that the U.S. requires a world-class military, but he opposed a recent bill to help returning veterans find jobs back at home. Of course, this election season, the most talked about issues relate to jobs and the economy, and there's one Senate committee that has vast authority on the rules governing Wall Street and the financial sector, including mortgages and mortgage-backed securities, the devices many say led to the collapse of the housing bubble in 2008. The Republican who would likely lead that committee, the Senate Banking Committee, is Idaho Senator Mike Crapo. Crapo opposes Wall Street regulation, first voting against the Dodd-Frank bill, then continuously voting to weaken it. When Jamie Dimon, the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, testified before the committee, Corker asked him how he thinks Washington should regulate the banks. Critics called that the fox guarding the henhouse. And Crapo has opposed the Consumer Protection Bureau and refused to vote for anyone to run that bureau before President Obama simply appointed someone. One of the widest-ranging committees is known as the HELP Committee. It covers health, including health care and health care reform, education from Head Start all the way to colleges, and labor, all issues that have made major headlines in recent years. And the Republican chairman-in-waiting of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee appears to be Tennessee's Lamar Alexander. Alexander opposes health care reform and has called Medicaid a medical ghetto despite its popularity. He's called teachers' unions the biggest obstacle to improving schools and opposed student loan reforms, making loans more affordable and easier to repay. Plus, he's taken numerous anti-labor union positions and cast scores of anti-union votes as well. Government programs need government funding, so when it comes to budgeting and funding things like Social Security, that's the job of the Appropriations Committee. The Republican chairman-in-waiting seems to be Alabama's Richard Shelby. Shelby supports the Ryan Plan, which calls for cuts in most government spending, including safety net programs. He's also called for a raise in the Social Security retirement age to age 70 or 72. He opposes the Consumer Protection Bureau and other business regulations, and the Appropriations Committee approves the funding for government regulators. And for other money-related issues, there's the Government Commerce Committee, and in a Republican Senate, its chairman could be South Carolina's Jim DeMint. DeMint is best known as a Tea Party favorite who's told reporters he opposes compromise when the parties take different views. He wants to slash the size of the government and axe thousands of federal employees. On energy, his take is drill everywhere, regardless of environmental or other concerns. DeMint has called Social Security socialistic and a failed policy, and he thinks Medicare is unconstitutional. And DeMint opposes most regulations as being anti-business.
So how likely is it that all these changes will happen? Republicans only need to pick up 4 seats to regain control, or just 3 seats if Mitt Romney wins the White House. Rich?
All right. You think the public cares?
I don't think the public thinks about it all that much. You think about voting for your senator, you don't think about the larger picture, which is one of the reasons why watching the debate last night sort of prompted me to get into this.